Agenda item 2.06, PTA 125th Anniversary Resolution. I'll call on Ms. Corbett-Sanders.
Whereas for 125 years, National Parent-Teacher Association, the PTA, has worked toward bettering the lives of every student. Founded by Alice McClellan Burney and Phoebe Apperson Hurst, when women did not have the right to vote, the National Congress of Mothers was established as a national organization focused on addressing the education, health, and safety needs of children. On February 17th, 1897, over 2,000 people, mostly mothers, but also fathers, teachers, laborers, and legislators, attended the first convocation of the National Congress of Mothers in Washington, D.C. Whereas in 1926, Selena Sloan Butler formed the National Congress of Colored Parents and Teachers to advocate for children, especially African American children in segregated communities. Whereas in June 1970, the two national organizations merged to form the National Parent Teachers Association. Whereas today's PTA is the largest child advocacy organization in the nation, made up of millions of families, students, teachers, administrators, and business and community leaders, devoted to the educational success of children, provides parent voice on important issues facing children and youth. Whereas through advocacy, family and community education, and countless hours of volunteering in our classrooms, libraries, and in after-school programs, PTA is a dedicated partner with teachers to improve educational outcomes for all students. Whereas our advocacy has resulted in the creation of kindergarten classes, student health and safety programs, healthy breakfast and lunch programs, and robust programs for the arts. And whereas the Fairfax County PTA has been a leader in bringing attention to the needs of students with disabilities with the formation of the Special Education Parent Teachers Association, and advocates for improvements in our curriculum to address concerns about literacy and adverse childhood experiences. Therefore, be it resolved that the Fairfax County School Board recognizes and celebrates the 125th anniversary of the National Parent Teachers Association and the important partnerships between parents and schools in advancing the academic, social, and emotional needs of all students. I so move.
Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Sizemore-Heiser. Ms. Corbett-Sanders, would you like to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair. I brought this resolution to the board because of the important partnership that parents and educators have in Fairfax County. We have heard from some parents that they do not believe parents are listened to in our public schools. This resolution is important because of the historic significance of this organization that is 125 years old, but it also recognizes the very importance of parent voice in our decision making. It is timely that this resolution celebrates the parent voice on the same night that we recognize both Public Schools Week and Black History Month. Virginia was the very first state in the country that embedded in its Constitution the right to a free public education for all, and that was the Constitution that was enacted as part of Reconstruction. In 1870. A little over a quarter of a century later, the PTA was formed. And here in Fairfax County, our parent teachers associations and our PTOs are an important voice at the table. Parents participate in the school improvement plan process, are active in our classrooms as room parents, volunteers at science fairs, in classrooms, mentoring and also fundraising, as well as serving in very important advisory committees to this board. PTA has brought concerns to the school system about sleep, grading, curriculum, and more. Locally, I've had the pleasure of serving on the PTA at the elementary, middle, and high school levels. We were instrumental in building outdoor learning spaces, assisting in our libraries, classrooms, and book fairs, and participating in principal selection panels. Our special education PTA is recognized nationally for the work that they have done to raise up the voice of our special education parents. Our parent organizations have been incredibly creative in engaging parents and families during the COVID shutdown with virtual bingo nights, ice cream socials, special events on key topics impacting parents and students, and much more. Returning to in-person learning, they have volunteered to help in our schools, cafeterias, and playgrounds. It is with great joy that I am able to recognize the important partnerships of the schools and parents tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Corbett-Sanders. Ms. Sizemore Heiser?
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Corbett-Sanders, for bringing this forward. I'm honored to second this motion. I've often talked about the importance for students to feel a sense of belonging and connection to their school community, and that is something I feel very strongly about. And the studies do show that students who feel that strong connection, that strong sense of belonging, do better academically and have better social and emotional outcomes. And the PTAs are seminal to creating that atmosphere, creating those opportunities for students to connect and belong and have fun in their schools, right? Through after-school classes, through activities, through getting buses for field trips. It's the PTAs that bring that spark to our schools. It's also a great place for families to be able to engage with their schools, with their school leadership, with their teachers. And strong family engagement is also shown to lead to better academic and social outcomes. The PTAs provide such great opportunities for parents to be heard, to be involved, and have been instrumental in making our schools the strong places that they are. During the 2020-2021 school year, I held 5 virtual roundtables with PTA leaders, 1 in each region. I was able to hear their questions and answer their questions, but what was actually amazing was listening to these great leaders share with each other the wonderful things they were doing to make their school communities stronger and share ideas and brainstorm with each other. And it was wonderful to hear the broad perspective and hear the creative ways they found to keep our community strong through outdoor movies, snow day pictures, virtual science nights, and more. And in addition to being a place for families to be heard and for students to find opportunities to belong, their advocacy has helped improve schools here at FCPS, around the state and around the country, including, I have to give a little shout out to the Special Ed PTA, which I used to be on the board for, speaking for students with disabilities whose voice often had not been heard. So our schools are so much better off because of our PTA, so I'm honored to bring this. Thank you to our PTAs.
Ms. Marin?
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, I couldn't wait to join the PTA when my kid got to elementary school. I remember my mom doing that back in the day. I just want to put in a plug, though, for folks to understand the difference between PTA and other parent organizations. You know, the PTA is a national organization that has, you know, this history, but also a lot of supports that really help its 3 goals of, you know, some fundraising, some community engagement, and I'm totally blanking on the last one, but there are 3 specific things that they do. And I know that some schools I represent, they have a parent-teacher organization or a parent-teacher-student organization, and that is a different thing. So I just want folks to understand that there is a difference in that structure and the kinds of support that is available, and to just be educated about what the benefits and drawbacks are of each model and what works for your own school community. Thank you.
Ms. Tolan?
Too many names that rhyme. I just wanted to make a couple of remarks on all of the resolutions that were just passed. I was looking through some Martin Luther King quotes, and I came upon this one. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. And I really feel like all of the resolutions that we have tonight, Black History Month, public schools, and our resolution around our PTAs and all the work that they do, really represents those that have risen above these individualistic concerns and looking at the broader concerns of all humanity. So just a couple of other remarks that I wanted to make around that. I'm really happy that my mother, many years ago, had me out marching for civil rights in the 60s, and instilled in me the basics of, you know, inclusivity. Like Karen Keys-Gamara, and I appreciated her comment so earlier, that she said earlier, I'm here working for all of our students, and, you know, trying to enhance the learning for all of our, for every single one of our students. I do want to thank particularly our NAACP has been doing some incredible work lately to promote literacy and better education for all of our students here in Fairfax County. They've done some great work with that. I'm a product of public schools and public universities, and I have spent most of my career in public education. My husband laughs that he had no idea that his life would be tied to a school schedule most of the time, even after our two boys finished going all the way through Fairfax County Public Schools. And with all my work in public education, I've mentioned this so many times in my comments, I am constantly amazed at the incredible achievements of our students and the incredible things our students are doing for their community with what they have learned in our public schools. And I want to see that continue. I've also been a PTA leader and know the power of parent input, through our PTAs, our PTSAs, and our PTOs. And I cannot thank, I have a Drainsville PTA, PTO, PTSA leaders group, and I cannot thank them enough for the support they've given each other over the last couple of years through the difficult times that we've had with the pandemic, but just in general, and the incredible work that they have done for their communities. So I am so excited to have this combination of resolutions tonight. They all fit together so nicely. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Ms. Cohen?
Thank you so much. I appreciate Ms. Corbett-Sanders and Ms. Sizemore-Heiser bringing this resolution. I was very fortunate to get to be a PTA president for 2 years at Cherry Run Elementary School, the tiny but the mighty. And it was great training for this gig. I definitely learned a lot. But, when we talk about all of the things over this last couple of years, all of the people for whom the pandemic has been made things much more difficult. I'm not sure we've done enough to talk about how hard your job has been as PTA presidents, as PTA board members. You have had to totally reimagine what your jobs look like. Scrap together what is a virtual bingo night and virtual talent show, and how do you connect a community in a school from 6 feet apart, and the limitations on your activities. I used to think that I had some amount of street cred when I talked to the PTA and PTO folks, and I can't even imagine doing this job in the last 2 years. So thank you, because so many times in this pandemic, our PTAs and PTOs were the glue that kept our communities and our schools connected. And what you have done, it's always so important, but in these last 2 years in particular, you have been a lifeline, I think, for many of us in the community, and your service is so appreciated. So thank you for what you do for all of us, for our kids, for our staff, and for us parents. We appreciate you more than we can say. Thank you.
Ms. Dernat-Koufax?
Happy to follow Ms. Cohen. She said a lot what I would like to say. I just want to thank all the PTA volunteers out there. You provide the sprinkles for our ice cream cones, and you provide the syrup on our snow cones and the bouncy houses. And as you said, it has changed a lot in the last 2 years. But I do want to thank you for sticking in there, still providing that joy to our students, working not just for your child, but for every child in that school, and making sure the staff knows they're appreciated through all of the things that you do as well. I have had the privilege of serving as a PTA president, vice president, and I love doing the cultural arts for 2 different elementary schools. So it's where I met lifelong friends, and I know you do it. I see Miss Debbie Kilpatrick. You have been doing this for years, and we thank you. You've gone to the state leadership, local leadership. Thank you for all that you do, the team that you put together to continue serving students beyond even your doors, beyond when your children have graduated. So for all of those who continue to do this, you do it as a labor of love, And we thank you so much because you really are a partner that we need and that we care about and that we just love. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other school board members, I'll just quickly, there's no way I could let a PTA resolution go by without me speaking. Proud PTA member for decades, PTA president for many, many years, then served on the district PTA, and throughout my many years of involvement, it is a place where I have met some of the most dedicated, selfless people who give so much of their time back to our students, back to our public schools, and get absolutely not a thing in return except, can you please come and volunteer some more? And I am so grateful to all of our parents who give so much of themselves. This community has strong support from our parents for all of our schools, and we are extremely grateful to all of you, particularly these past couple of years, which have been so incredibly difficult. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. And with that, if we can go ahead and take the vote, all those in favor? And that is unanimous. Yay.
I would like to invite Nathan Monell, the National PTA Executive Director, Hamid Munir, the Vice President of Training for the Fairfax County Council of PTAs, Debbie Kilpatrick, Northern Virginia District PTA Assistant Director, as well as parents, students, and staff here tonight in support of the PTA to please join the board at the dais for a photograph. We are going to be doing photographs for all of the resolutions tonight, so please stick around. We want everybody to participate. And I ask my colleagues to please remain in front of the dais for the next two photographs.
If you are here this evening in support of the Black History Month resolution, we ask that you please join the board at the dais for a photo. If you are here this evening in support of the Public Schools Week resolution, we invite you to the dais for a photo with the board.